Hey, it's Justin Potnier here on the Mixed Morning Grind. Special guest joining me right now, Brett Cox, the head coach of the Straightline Dodge AAA U18 Rangers here in Fort Saskatchewan. Brett, how are you?
Doing very well, and under the circumstances, it's all a good day.
Well, I guess that's the thing we should probably kick this off of is, the COVID situation. I'd imagine for a coach of a team like yours, where A, you're doing so well in the season, and B, you're dealing with young athletes, this must be a real trying time for you.
Well, and again, I think it's like anything. Everyone's fatigued. That's society right now. But I think the nice thing is our happy place each day is when we get a chance to get together as a hockey team. It's no different than anyone else in society, whether it's school sports, the dance, the arts, and things like that. It's just that opportunity to get together. So we cherish every day. I know right now is a real difficult time. We've got a few cases of COVID with our team. But really, the group has been excellent since last May when we first started the process. It's been a very enjoyable group.
So let's talk about your history with hockey. I'd imagine started out playing as a kid, and how did that go with you in minor hockey, and how did you progress into deciding to go into coaching?
When you're 54, you forget those days a little bit. But no, I grew up in Fort Saskatchewan, played my minor hockey here, was fortunate enough to play with the Junior A Traders back in the day. And from there, I went on to play with the Golden Bears at the U of A. So it was an excellent time for me growing up and playing hockey. And along the way, you end up, obviously, the memories of the players you played with, but there's also the coaches that had influence on you, the teachers that had influence on you to shape you into doing what you're doing. So I've been very blessed. I've been a teacher for a long time, coached junior hockey for 9 years full time. That came with a supportive wife. And then
you have to, right?
Yeah, and then from there, it's just I got back into minor hockey, and it's been a great joy.
And did you cross paths at all with Claire Drake when you were at the U of A?
Yeah, I had him my first year with the Bears. That was his last year with the Bears, so I was very fortunate to have him and Bill Moores, who took over the program, had been a longtime assistant there. Peter Esdale, Peacock, those guys were awesome.
So now when you go forward into your coaching career, do you kind of take things from different coaches you had along the way and kind of blend them all together with your personality, or how do you kind of come up with kind of your own kind of mission statement going forward as a coach, because you need some direction, right?
Absolutely. I think, in anything in life, anybody you come across, anybody you work with more intimately, you're looking at things that you appreciate, and then you try to apply that to yourself if it can fit. I think as a young coach, there was probably a lot of different influences, and you tried a whole bunch of different things. Maybe they weren't right for me and my personality and such, but you tried them. Some failed, some didn't. I think over time, I think my intensity is probably my desire to win, my desire to see kids succeed is still there. But I was probably a little bit more too intense as a younger coach.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because I've been to a couple of your games this year, and you seem very calm, cool, and collected behind the bench. And there's definitely a difference I see anywhere in coaching from back, even when I was a kid, or definitely when you were, to now. It seems more player friendly. Would that be a way to put it? There's a kind of a different way to approach things nowadays, it seems like.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did an interview with the gentleman out of Ontario for the Max tournament. And, we ended up spending 45 minutes together, and it really makes you reflect on things. And I think, again, as a good coach, no different than a good teacher, it's always a constant reflection, what worked, what didn't work. I've been really fortunate this year too. I was the assistant coach with Ty Ballin, who did an excellent job with our organization here. When he left to go to Fernie, right away, it was like, no, I'd like to be a head coach again. And with Tyson Bailey, a good young kid, he played 5 years with the Bears, an outstanding Western Hockey League player in Kelowna. And then Stacey Ryan. Stacey comes to us from Sherwood Park, but he knows that Fort Saskatchewan's a better place to be anyways. I'd coached him back at Nate in the late 90s, coaching there. And they both bring a different skill set. There's a different age bracket there that that they're bringing their own experiences to the situation. I think they're excellent with the players. And, you touch on the friendliness of the coach relationship with the player. I know when I played junior, my first road trip, we went up to Fort Mac. The only thing the coach said to me and Guy Godowski, we were fellow rookies. He got on and said, "I hope your parents took a picture of your face because it's going to look different when you get home from this weekend." So as two 16-year-olds, we went that 4.5-hour drive to Fort Mac going, what the heck did that mean?
Yeah.
And, and it was true. There was a couple brawls that weekend and things happened. But, nowadays, like I look at the process when I got the job last April, May-ish, right away, it was going through the list. You start texting kids, you're touching base. One of the silver linings of COVID is just like we're doing here, a Zoom family meeting was the great thing to do. I could meet with the families in Fort Mac and Lac La Biche, wherever they were in our zone, because that's always the greatest challenge is, if you're in Sherwood Park, you know who your kids are that can play. You're battling a little bit with the academy kids, but ours stretches all the way to the northern border. So, there's not a budget or the time to be going and visiting all those people, but it's really, really important. Establishing those relationships, answering their questions. We probably met with 40 families and, you have your napkin roster, I'll say, that you're looking at past performance and their body of work and you're going, okay, we think these pieces of the puzzle can fit. But ultimately training camp and the preseason determines who makes the team and such. So, it was much different than what we thought, but all those meetings laid the foundation. Watching NHL games and seeing, you sit and watch the NHL playoffs, and I'd be texting players constantly. You just have to have that connection. They have to feel that you want to get to know them. And then, that just helps in trying to push their performance later on.
Now, you mentioned the fact that there are players from far and wide on this team. And actually, I really love that because there's a bunch of guys on the team from my hometown of Morinville. There's folks from Legal, there's Athabasca, there's Sturgeon County. It's more than just Fort Saskatchewan being represented here. And I think it was cool when you guys played in Morinville earlier in the season to kind of give a flavor to the folks there and to let them showcase their own kids out in front of that community. That was awesome. I'd imagine, though, doing that, as cool as it is to have that diversity, it's a little bit different getting the team to gel probably because, with Sherwood Park or any of the other communities, they all grow up together in the same minor hockey program. This one, you're kind of pulling from different ones, right?
Absolutely. And that's a big part of it. And I think, over time, with spring hockey, that's created situations where some of these kids have played with each other. A couple had played together at an academy a couple of years ago, but truly is bringing them all together as a team. Training camp is always an interesting time because, the ADM model, the athlete development model Hockey Alberta wants is the best 20 players on each team all through the province. So, we do end up with a few kids from St. Albert, from Sherwood Park that are coming in. So everyone's battling for 20 jobs. And as much as they're battling, you also want to, like you say, build that cohesive team. So one of the things, that we try to do is, early on in the season, we had a slow pitch game and then had some pizza. We had, an afternoon soccer game and, a lot of different things. We did the Murph, which is a kind of a challenge run that we did in the River Valley each year. But all those different things, and it's as much about the performance, but more importantly, it's about looking at different attitudes that you see when things are difficult. When you're presenting them with we kind of lied a bit and said it was about a 3-kilometer run. They're running and it's like they're in kilometer 5 going, what the heck? You can't manufacture those things in the sense that we know we're going to be faced with adversity at different times. And you really want to find out what their mental state is, their mindset. And then also who supports one another, because there was truly kids we released this year that were probably in the top 20 skill, but they weren't necessarily part of the best 20 players that we can make a team. And I think that's been our key this year. It's the 20 players that have played have been outstanding in their resilience and their support of one another.
Well, you've seen success because you only have 3 losses on the year. Like we've been watching you guys and talking about it here on the show, that win total just kept on going up and up and up. And it's still, as of right now, you have the most points of any AAA team in the province. A couple of losses recently, but as you said, COVID has reared its ugly head with the team. But I'd imagine, having that kind of early success in the year, it probably looks good on paper, but for you as a coach, probably a little bit stressful because you want to sustain this throughout an entire season, not just have a big burst of energy, right?
Yeah, no, it's very enjoyable. And again, I think the win-loss record will always be a product of everything else you're doing. And, we've had a lot of close games. I really, truly believe this year there isn't a dominant team. I think anybody can beat anybody at any given time. And I think the records show that. There's you look at the standings and people always go by the wins, losses, but, there are some really, really good teams that just have not found the success necessarily. But I think our attitude's been, we want to win every period. We want to win every game. That's our expectation. But if a team outworks us or outplays us and we lose, then we've got to accept that result. And then we've just got to get ready and work harder the next time. And, we've bent a lot. We've never broke. I don't believe that the team's ever got to a point of quitting on each other or anything like that. And that you really want to guard from that. But, even last weekend, we went in to play the Flames and they were playing up the first place versus first place quite a bit. We had our top defenseman out who just actually received the Player of the Month for December.
Ashton Funk,
yeah. There's a kid that logs 22, 24 minutes a game, but it's like, okay, well, next man up. So McDonald went on the back end, and we didn't play a great game in the sense that we'd had 17, 18 days off with the Max tournament canceled and such, and you can't plan for that stuff. But we had a big break, and the break was important for our kids to spend time with their families. Was it the ideal way to prepare for a first place versus first place game? Probably not.
A little too much turkey and stuff in, eh?
Yeah, but we went down there and they played a very good game, very physical game. There's a situation that I'm sure the video will circulate at some point, but I don't know if the officials made necessarily the right call, but they made the right call from what they saw at the time. But the video is pretty conclusive. Their guy runs our goaltender. There's a little kerfuffle after that, but very minor in my opinion, and many others have seen it. 15 games and suspensions come from that. So we go the next day into the North Stars, and we're playing with 14 players, and you work hard to get a 2-0 win, and the guys solidified themselves. And if anything, the actions of that player in that game, yes, we lost 3-2, but that also brought our team even closer together. And those are the things, again, you can't manufacture them, but boy, oh boy, are they going to pay dividends down the road.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned the Max tournament. We were really excited to see you guys in that breakdown of the different pools and the teams that you're going to play against. And it's just such a kind of an interesting tournament, and the way that they set things up, and really hoping to see a great result from you guys. It must have been heartbreaking to have that canceled as close to the start as when it was going to go.
Absolutely. And I truly believe we're still recovering from a little bit of that mentally.
Yeah.
We're so excited to go. And I think that's obviously our first goal right from day one, was to make the Max tournament. It's a prestigious tournament. Anybody that's ever played in it or coached in it, it's just a wonderful 9-day event. And I know when I was coaching junior, that was the chance to just sit back and watch great hockey and do your recruiting there. So for the players, for the families, again, there was so much time, energy, the financial piece attached to it. But yeah, it was devastating for the players. I feel horrible for them. For them, a lot of the 04s, for instance, the 05s that are looking to go play junior next year, that's their place to shine. And this year's tournament with the academies included, you look at the pool we're in, some phenomenal teams, like top 3 in the US who are in our division, the number 1 rated team in Canada for U18. And those are games you look forward to gauge, where are we at and how good are we? And we're very fortunate with the teams we play in our division right now. Anytime we play St. Albert, Parks, Lloydminsters, those are all teams that we try to gauge ourselves. Are we getting better? Are we improving in different areas? But that tournament itself would have been so special.
Well, you do still have a good ways to go in the AEHL season, the regular season before playoffs start. Do you guys have a goal on the year, a collective goal, or does it kind of change throughout the year depending on where you stand? I would imagine that, being at the top of the league right now, as you are on paper anyway, you guys have some pretty high hopes for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we break it down. We've talked to the players a lot about, what are the individual team goals that we will be successful if we attain in each game. We try to break it down into segments. But truly, we go into every weekend expecting to perform at a level that we can win every period of hockey. Is it realistic? Obviously not. But again, we look at when we played Lloyd came in, played a solid road game, and we weren't prepared to play 60 minutes that game. I think we had a great third period, but it just reminded us again, if we're only going to play 20 minutes, we're not going to be very successful. No different than the Flames game again. I thought that game was determined by outside forces there a little bit, but we battled back, and then we showed good resilience the next day. So, we've got a real tough schedule coming up. I think currently right now we have 7 guys out with COVID. So going into this weekend, the league minimum's 10 plus 1. So we'll have our 10 players and 1 goaltender, and we might get a couple affiliates in, but we're going to find a way to perform our best. And if our best means a loss, well, then that's life and we move on. But, the one thing I can really appreciate in all our players is when they come to the rink, they're prepared to work hard. They want to battle, they want to compete, and they want to push each other. So where that takes us throughout the year, obviously every team in Canada sets out to be playing in Nova Scotia in April. And, that's still the goal for every team in our league, I'm sure. And it's definitely a goal for us.
Well, it's been an impressive squad so far. Brett Cox, thank you so much. Before you go, I just want to get some NHL predictions on you for the rest of the season. Do you have a Stanley Cup favorite going forward?
Well, it's the Edmonton Oilers, of course.
Brett, I love it. Good.
You got to be.
I was hoping you weren't going to say Toronto. So that's all I was hoping.
Yeah, it's guaranteed it's not the New York Islanders, and I'll take a shot at my best friend right now while I can. It will not be the Islanders. It'll definitely be the Oilers. But if it's not the Oilers, I would probably think Tampa Bay has a pretty good shot.
Love those predictions. Brett Cox, the head coach of the U18 AAA Straightline Dodge Rangers here in Fort Saskatchewan. Brett, thank you so much. Anything else?
No, I really appreciate all the support, and everybody stay safe.